Hello YouTubes, this is Grim Weird coming back to you with another episode of Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack for Minecraft. This is going to be sort of a grab bag episode. I got lots of little chores going on. So one of the first things I did was we recently got our crusher going, so we no longer have to manually crush our ore one at a time. And it was pretty slow though, so I went ahead and crafted the 4 speed upgrades. Now those required me to use our new resonator that we also got to turn weighted pressure plates, which are 2 gold ingots, into these upgrade bases. So I did that, and then I created the thing. Other than that, it was just a bunch of redstone. So I got 4 of those in there, and I was interested to see what it would do to the power. So the power drain is actually looking pretty good. We're not touching really. This one is now, keeping its back up, and it's cruising through stuff pretty quick. If we watch how fast it's going, it's pumping things up pretty fast. So I'm catching up on a backlog of crushing, and we'll let that finish and then start some gold up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm pretty happy with the power that we got going on here. So we got plenty of power to be doing that. However, if you can see here, we now have a grid power drain of 4.38 from this machine. And so what'll happen is when night falls, the solar power, I got nine extra utilities solar panels up on the fort. And when night falls, they stop working and I stop having grid power. So I went ahead and made us some of the fire mills. So if we take a look at those real quick, those were some stone burnt, which again we could make in the resonator. That's just polished stone turned into stone burnt. These resonating redstone crystals drop occasionally as you're mining redstone ore. I didn't have enough to make all the fire mills I wanted, but I realized I had like 3 stacks of unbroken redstone ore. So I just threw them all on the ground and hit them with my looting hammer, my luck 3 hammer or looting 3 hammer, whichever it is. And I ended up getting enough that I wanted. And the redstone gears, just torches. So we made up those. We had nether brick. We had nether rack that we could turn into nether brick, which we could turn into the nether brick fence. So we made 9 of those, and that's going to probably give us plenty of GP power for the moment. I'm not exactly sure how much I'll need in the long run because I've never really done this track before, but that should get us started. So the fire mill, I don't really know where I wanted to put it, so I'm just throwing it over here in the corner for now so I don't have to listen to the nether rack crackle and burn. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and light the netherrack with our flint and steel. So now we have the fire for the fire mill. And put some of that out there. And put our fire mills out there. So I made a block of 3x3 of them for 9 of them. So now we went from a grid power of, I think it was 9, to a grid power of 45. And each of these is doing 4. So 4 times 9 is 36. So yeah, we went from a grid power of 9 from the 9 solar panels to grid power of 45. And of course now we aren't subject to night falling on our solar panels. So I'm going to cook up some more nether brick and sort of close this off a bit just to make it look a bit nicer and out of the way. And we'll probably end up moving that at some point in the future. But at least it's far enough away that I can't hear the nether rack, which is all I really cared about. And now if I look at this, the drain is 4.38, but we have 45 grid power. And until we get something, impressive, I don't know how much the angel ring uses up, but until we get something that uses up considerably more grid power, we should be okay for a bit. So I got my crusher speeded up. I'm starting to catch up on my ore grinding here. And we've got grid power, so we can now run the crusher without fear of nightfall. And so that's sort of the first set of chores done that I wanted to get done. So now I got to check my list and see what else is next. So we'll do a jump cut here, and I'll be back for a few more things in a moment. So another thing on my list of chores was to come over and make sure I had enough cows. So I just did one last feeding on my cows, and I'm not going to take the time to count them, but I'm getting up there where I think that's plenty of cows. So that may even be more than 36. I'm not going to bother counting them, but bottom line is we're done with our cow herd. So as soon as we get industrial foregoing up and moving and get ourselves the animal feeder, the baby animal separator, and the animal slaughterer, we will be able to get that moving. And I don't know if I've explained why that's a big deal, but the bottom line is, if we take a look at the gates opening, I believe it's opening either thermal expansion or RF tools. One of these requires something that uses pink slime, and to get pink slime, you pretty much have to use that industrial foregoing if we take a look at it, you have to use basically the some of these things here. It's one of the things here, the mob slaughter factory and pink slime. So you pretty much got to get through there to get pink slime as a component for opening up one of either RF tools or thermal foundations. So that's why I wanted to make sure and get this prepped so that when we get there, we're not held up. But yeah, plenty of cows now. So I will head on back. Another thing I did was I mentioned that I had to find more of these doodads to make our extra utilities fire mills, because your grid power producing things use these. And I realized I had a stack of silk touched redstone, so I threw it all out on the floor and broke it with my Luck 3 hammer. Well, I also noticed I had a stack of lapis that I hadn't broken. So I did that, and I ended up with, like, I don't know, something crazy like 4 or 5 stacks of lapis. So I went ahead and topped off the Luck 3 on this hammer, and I went ahead and put Luck 3 on my sword too. And as luck would have it, as I was coming up here to go check on my cows, a Enderman teleported into my base, all cocky and stuff, and I whacked him with my Luck 3 sword and got 3 ender pearls out of him. So that sort of paid immediate dividends. So, alrighty. I am cooking up a bunch more nether bricks so that I can finish an enclosure for our fire mills. And then I'm on to the next chore. So we will jump cut, and as soon as I figure out what that is, I will let you know. Okay, so we got our fire mill grid power cooking and looking fine. So that's that out of the way. And what else do we want to accomplish tonight? Let's take a look at our quest book and see what's on the agenda. If I could do anything right now, I don't think I collected for my mills. Let's grab that. Maybe we'll get something fun. A glider. Too late. Already got one. But it's good to have a backup. If I die somewhere running off fighting a dragon or something, I'll be able to come back with that. So that's still a good thing. So let's see. This is all pretty much power generation that I'm not worried about right at the moment. I don't really have any fluid to store quite yet, although I will want to make a couple of the iron drums when we get our mob slaughter factory up and running. I don't know if I need GP generation 3 quite yet. I've got plenty to handle what I'm doing. This stuff I think takes drops of evil from withers, so we're going to have to go back to the nether and find a nether fortress to get anywhere on this branch. So let's go back to industrial craft. We still want to bust out these 4 machines and immersive engineering. I gotta look and see what all I need for the metal press, because I took some heavy engineering blocks as a reward, so we might be able to get the metal press. So let's take a look at that, because I am already getting sick of running plates out of my smeltery. So where's my book? Here's my book. So left click into space to get our Akashic Tome back, and we're going to select the engineer's manual for immersive engineering, and real happy with my packed ice and block of uranium. That seems to be giving plenty of power for tier 1, so this little bad boy up here is doing great. But we want to go to, what's it called? Heavy machinery, metal press. And then this book I find really did not find easy to figure my way around, but I think I got it now. So if I mouse over here, these are the required materials. So I build this list of stuff, and then I assemble it like it's showing on the picture there on the little diagram, and then I right click it with my hammer and it turns into the metal press. So steel scaffolding, I'm pretty sure we can make that. Redstone engineering block, I'm pretty sure we can make that. A piston and 2 conveyor belts, we should have that. So the heavy engineering block, I'm not 100% sure we could have made it, but we did pick it as a reward. So let's get this bad boy moving. Let's just double check and see if we can make that redstone engineering block. Oh yeah, we could do that. Do I have one? Do I have one left over from when I made something earlier? I'll tell you what, I'm going to round up all the plates and ingots and etc. that we need to make that. And we're going to make that bad boy and get that set up, because that's going to make life easier. Instead of pouring, like plates and gears and stuff through these casts, I'll set it up to where all I got to do is throw a bunch of ingots in a box and it'll spit out gears and plates for me. So I'm going to jump cut here and look through my inventory, see what I need, what I don't need, make the Constantan if I need to, and we'll come back and try and assemble that and get it up and running. All right, I think we got everything we need for this monstrosity. So I gave us a bit more finished floor, filled in a wall here to sort of separate off this magic area. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy here. I want it pretty close to my crafting and my smelting and my ingots and all that stuff. So I'm still pretty new at this bad boy. We're going to have scaffolding, redstone scaffolding. So I did make one of these in my trial run, and so I have some changes I want to try here. For one thing, I want to put it up a level, so I got it up on bricks. That was because it'll make it, well, I'll show you why when I get it up there. So we're going to put it up on some blocks to get it a little higher. The redstone. And we need, I think, a piston. Probably got to put this up here first. And Point a piston up at it. That's not going to work, is it? Piston, piston, piston. Let's try that again. Snug up in here and see if we can get it to point down. There we go. And then we need to, might have to have a step up here. So I can get up on top of here. We put a conveyor belt, oops, here, pointing that, not that way, that way. Not a second one. Sorry, I'm still new at all this. Okay, there we going. All right, so I think that's the beast, and then I think we hit the middle of it, and boom. Okay, now as for why I'm putting it up on blocks, you put your press molds on the bottom of this. So if I'm doing wires or gears or plates, I'm going to be putting, I'll have to make them, probably have to save that for next time, but you'll make these guys, these metal press molds, and those stick up under here, and when it's down at eye level, you can't really see them, so you're always like constantly going, which one do I have in there? And so this way it's up there. And then the second reason is I found that when I was feeding it from this side, if it was at my level, I had a tendency to, suck up and pick up the things, the ingots if I was standing too close. So I had to be very careful to throw things on the conveyor belt without standing too close to them. So the other things I wanted to try was when you make this, you end up with extra steel scaffolding and extra conveyor belts and etc. So I wanted to try a covered extracting. I'm going to need to get up in the air so I can take a look at what's going on. So I decided to make a covered extracting one here. I think that's going to go there. I need to turn it. Can I turn it with the hammer? All right. Let's try that again. Once again, the caveat, I'm not really an expert, but I am learning. Maybe if I put the box down first, that'll help it figure out what it's doing. So let's do that. Or we'll throw it on the floor. So what I'm trying to do here is put a box here. And then I'm trying to extract from it. I think it's pointing the wrong damn direction. Oh, maybe if we do this. Oh, God damn it. That just places another one. Maybe if we don't have something in our hand like that. Damn thing's backwards. Let's try the hammer one more time, because at least it's sort of in the right place. Okay, well now we know it points away from us. So if I go grab it again, now it points towards us. So if I go grab it again, how embarrassing. Alright, so I want to point it at that guy. Hey, now we're cooking, I think, maybe. Let's see what happens. Do I have an ingot or something I could throw in there? What happens if I put that in there? Hey, it extracted it. Bueno. Alrighty. So that cage on there, if I'm standing here doing this, I think that cage will prevent me from sucking it up. Plus it's also higher, so I don't think it'll suck it up. So that's what we're going to do there. And then the other little thing I wanted to do was try a dropping covered conveyor belt. See if we can get this thing hooked on here right. Is it going the right direction? I don't think it is. I'll play around with this a bit next time I make something off camera and try and get a bit used to this, try and get better at this. I will figure this out. It shouldn't be this hard, but I am sleepy. Alright, so I want to get higher up so I can eyeball this. And again, I think it's going exactly the wrong direction. Yep. All right, well, what I'm trying to do is get it to, this is a dropping covered one, so in theory, I'm wanting it to drop things into there, but I think it still needs to be pointing away from the press. Maybe a half, if I have something to put it on, and shift. There we go. So that's what you basically need. You need something to put it on so you can aim it. Alright, so now we just got to make sure that it's not shooting out the end here. So we're going to go ahead and throw some stuff on here. And it doesn't seem to be going in. Alright, well, I will fiddle around with this off camera. If nothing else, I'll just throw a dropper on the end of it, a hopper on the end of it, which is what I did last time, and it worked absolutely fine. I just thought I'd save myself a hopper and play around with this dropping covered conveyor belt. But I need to figure out how this bad boy works. So I'll play around with that, but here we go. This is what we needed to do. That's going to really help our speed when we're making plates and gears and wires and stuff, pardon me. And so now the only next thing we need to do for this bad boy is get it some power. I could relay a wire across here, but since I have nothing to do with this really yet, I'm going to go ahead and plop it on top. These take power from the top, so I've got room up top to drop this bad boy up there. We're not doing anything else with it. And boom, we're getting power. So that's good to go, and that should be plenty of power for this thing, I think. It may slow down when it runs through its buffer without some sort of capacitor up there, but I can make a capacitor for it. So yeah, what I'm going to do is make the these guys for them. Let's see, how bad is that? So that is going to be, I'm going to need 20 steel plates for that. Actually, I'll make this one first and then use the press itself to make the other 15. And then once I got all these, we will be good to go. And we'll see how that works next episode, because I think I'm running up on time or past time. But this is good stuff. I'm happy to have this. I tried it out for the first time ever a couple weeks ago when I was starting out, or when I was testing this mod pack to see if I wanted to do this series. And I really enjoyed it. It has a nice, satisfying ka-chunking sound as it's putting out its product, and seemed to work fine. You just throw stuff in here and it stamps it and sends it over here. So I will get us some of those molds, and we will test it out next time and then move on to something else. Bye. All right, looks like we have a little bit more time before I have to call this an episode. So I just wanted to show you that I finished it up. So as you can see, one of the reasons I put it up in the air is so that I can show, or so that I can see that it's got the plate press mold in there. And so now it works. It did pass things through and drop it into that box. So if we dump in 10 more, it will just ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk it. Still has plenty of power. And we got 11 plates. So obviously that's a heck of a lot faster than pouring it out on the smelter. I also had to set up the engineer's workbench. We made this quite a bit ago, but didn't really have a use for it. So how that works is that you put a blueprint over here. So in this case, I've got the engineer's blueprint for, and those are made by usually a little bit of metal and some blue dye and some paper. And each of these different recipes crafts a different one. So metal press molds, crafting components, etc. So be careful that you don't think these are all equivalent recipes like I did the first time I did here. But like for instance, we want to make the metal press mold gear next, which is going to be 5 steel plates and the wire cutters. So we're going to do that, and grab that. And we're also going to want to do the rod. Grab that. And we're going to do the wire. Grab that. And so that if I want to change it out, all I have to do is right click and it goes in there. So now I can see that that's the gear one and that's the plate one. So again, that's why I put it up on blocks. And I might fill in some blocks, maybe fill in some bricks here, move this over one, just to sort of make this look a little bit more solid and concrete, like the beast that it is. And then I'm not going to have huge amounts just sitting in this output crate, so I put my spare blueprints and spare molds over here. There are other molds to make, but I hadn't seen really a reason to use them quite yet. So yeah, we're just going to sort of fill this out, pretty it up. I extended the ceiling a bit and the wall a bit more, put some lighting in. Still seems sort of dim though, so I might put a bit more, maybe some backlighting or something. But anyway, we've got it working, and I can stand pretty much right on top of it here and throw stuff in there, and I don't suck things off the conveyor belt into my inventory, so that's good. I think that's a combination of the height and possibly the covered extracting conveyor belt. So yeah, I sort of like it. I just want to make it look a bit more pretty, and we're good to go. So that's coming along nicely. I think all that looks good. I think that's going to be plenty of power for it. And then what I'll do is when I get an energy cell, I'll just slap it up next to it so that I can be charging my energy cell when this isn't in use. In fact, I might end up having an energy cell on either side of them getting some charge. Probably one at a time though. Otherwise, one will just overtake the other anyway. But I'm babbling. It's late and I'm tired, so that's all we're going to do. Just one last thought. It's like I'd never really played with immersive engineering before trying this mod pack, and I gotta say I sort of like the aesthetic. It has such a nice retro, feel to it with the vacuum tubes, the electron tubes, and the style to it, and the draped wires, and the big old connectors. I sort of dig it. I didn't know that I would, but I sort of do. So with that being said, that is a major step forward in our automation of making plates and gears and wires, of which we're going to need much more plates, gears, and wires as we start to move into more and more tech machines. And I did hear a ding, so we did get this bad boy. And so I think that's the only one. Yeah, that's the only one we got. But let's open that up. Clay. Wow. Hopefully it's at least a stack of it. 16. All right, well, we got some clay. Hooray. So yeah, things are shaping up here. Slowly but surely turning into a somewhat technical base down here. Still largely Tech 1, but we're going to start moving into the industrial craft and mechanism stuff, and the mechanism stuff in particular, I think takes us up to Tech 2. And I think we got enough power to deal with most of our requirements for Tech 2. So I think we're in good shape. Anyway, until next time, this is Grimweird signing out. Thanks for watching.